Make it official. Go ahead and bring it.
All right.
Good
morning, Hickory Sunrise.
Good morning.
Pledge of allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I will speak for Brother Starkey. Father, we raise our voices in praise and thanksgiving as the calendar has turned and another new year begins. We are thankful for our Rotarian friends and the changes our service can bring. Let us rise to the challenges given. Let us aim to give more to the cause. Let us continue to make the world better, even if no one gives us applause. Amen.
Amen. Good morning, Rotarians. Good morning. Hey, I tell you, our numbers are slim this morning. I'm not sure what all is happening.
We got food dollars right here.
Okay, great. Good deal. Don't forget that. Okay, first of all, a couple items of business. I've asked Bob Steiger to make a comment about Saturday. Richard is not here. There was a death in the family, and he is not here today. So, Bob, if you have any comments, just dealing with Saturday, anything you want to say?
No, Richard called me early this morning, just wanted to thank the club for their involvement. This year it was, service was between 150 and 160 people, is that correct, Bob?
Yep.
And just thank everybody for their participation. And,
Well, that's through the door. We served a lot more meals than that.
sure.
Yes.
That was bodies through the door.
Yeah, plus
Okay.
volunteers and all.
No, that was just bodies through the door.
Plus the volunteers.
Yeah, there were 42 volunteers all told, and yeah.
I counted
Oh,
roughly.
and then those of us.
Yeah, about 200, a little over 200, and that's great. Good deal. I think Richard did a good job, and I commend him. We'll make reference again next week. He'll be here. Hate to do this. You know, we got a small group, but there are some issues that I have to bring before the club. And it hurts me to have to do this, but I'm gonna have to do it. First of all,
We wouldn't have to hurt yourself.
first item.
Is it the truth?
Ron Lee.
Yeah.
I noticed this morning, there's not a bulletin. Any reason for not having a bulletin?
Well, you know, I try to sometime over the weekend, I get my schedule out.
Yes, sir.
Program
Yes, sir.
responsibilities.
Yes, sir.
So I get to January
Uh-huh.
and look down, and it jumps from I think the 24th
Right.
to somewhere in February. And I said, now something's wrong here. So I read it 3 or 4 times. I even got my calendar out
I don't
to see
blame you.
what happened to the 31st of January.
Give him one of those.
It's not his fault.
Just give him one.
All right. Now, in other words, there's no 31st.
One for food, one for him.
Not in the Rotary world, not in Sunrise Rotary world.
Who would be responsible for having that calendar?
I'm not sure who does that, but
Rick, any comments on that?
Somebody in my house does it.
All right, good deal.
Mr. Sergeant at Arms, I rise to the issue. It seems to me that the president of the club has ultimate responsibilities for something especially as important as the program material. And so I feel obligated to also pay a fine for that.
I'd like to make a note. He's already put $2 in here. And there's another. Good deal.
I tell you what, the attendance we got this morning is probably good we don't have a program.
Wayne, I have a little concern.
I have
Hey!
It's about what you're talking about,
Okay.
all right?
Yes, sir.
And it's my fault, I didn't put it on there. How many times have I disseminated that schedule out to the whole club and nobody picked it up?
Never got it.
We like that word.
Not a person picked it up. I'm just curious, that's all.
We take we accept what you send out. So
Where's the food?
Steve, I need $1 for you,
Yes.
sir.
Hey, Rick, it's obvious when you call somebody on Monday and say you got the program. Oh, I have? They don't look at it.
Very true.
We like that word. Make sure you use that in the next article, okay?
All right, now, another issue.
Oh, man.
Another issue,
Right here.
it's about 3 of them, serious issues. Donald Hicks, I need automatically $1, and if you say much, I'm adding one more to it. Saturday at the winter warrant. Comment was made to everyone there, and it was concerning for us that this happened. So I just want you
That's all I
to,
got.
okay, now I'll give you a change back. That's all
No,
we
no,
need.
no, you just keep that, pay that for Steve.
Well, he didn't pick up his badge. I was getting that next. So he's already paid. He's already paid
Now, wait a minute, what's Hicks having to pay for here?
My good looks.
Paid too much.
Give him change.
All right. Donald, why did I find you for Saturday?
You know, when, you know, they say that
Why did
2 out of 3
why did
ain't
he
bad.
find you?
Well, I'm taller than most folk in this room. I'm darker than most folk in this room. And the third one's handsome, so I'm not gonna brag, okay? So, when you got those things going for you, you're bound to be fine from time to time. 2 out of 3 ain't bad. That's
Find it,
all.
find it.
Boy,
He keeps
listen to
talking.
this.
Oh, no, he keeps going. All right, the next item.
I just paid your fine.
Glenn is not here, and it's a concern.
I wanna say why I was fined.
Yes, sir.
I want to say that I was fined because I was fined because I spoke to our next senator, Dr.
loud.
Van Nett.
Yes.
Van Nett. Yes, sir. And you know, if I'm, you know, you ought to be fined for speaking to a senator out of term. You know,
Well, anyway, there
the
was.
new senator in this area. You know what I'm
There was
saying?
concern
North
about
Carolina
that.
senator
Now, you
that we
keep
know.
talking. Keep talking,
Senator.
we'll have to add another $1, but that covered it. Okay, that was the fine. All right, Ron Leach.
Yes.
Okay. Service above self. Okay. We have this picture in the paper of a Rotarian.
Uh-oh.
Did you see this?
I did see that.
Okay, how do you define this picture as far as service above self?
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely what?
Absolutely good service
Okay.
representing our club.
Okay, this is Rick's picture in the paper. All right, and
Yes.
service above self, everybody needs to put $1 in the bucket.
In the bucket.
In the bucket.
Does this go to the campaign contribution?
I got you. You say you have no more, I
All right,
got
thanks.
Hey, I got one.
Here it goes.
There we
Yeah, I thought
go.
it was tapped out. I went to the $2 out.
All right,
I thought it was tapped out.
the last item, this has all been built.
$30, did you?
Mr. Steiger, would you stand up, please?
Uh-oh.
Stand up. All right, what he was Saturday in the kitchen, and this gentleman was talking about harassment. It was taking place in the kitchen Saturday. We had one of our Rotarian members being harassed. In fact, he was so harassed, he did not show up today.
Oh.
That's serious. There were 2 Rotarians harassing this individual, and one of them is not here. I'll handle that next week. But this gentleman right here added to the problem, and this one Rotarian got really upset. I won't explain why, but Mr. Steiger, do you have any comments in justification of your action?
I'd like to know what I've been accused of before I pay my $1.
Okay, I will tell you.
All right.
You were around the study, you and Mr. Richard Tucker, and there was another individual coming in, and Mr. Tucker said, now watch him get upset over this. Say something to him. And you repeated what Richard told you. And the Rotarian got very upset. And, you know, I'll be honest with you, I don't want to mention this, but it was dealing with the city walk. Is that where you're going to
Oh, you're referring to Glenn Roseman.
Oh, that's $2. I need $2 for
Now,
service.
this is what they call bullying in the schools.
It is, oh yes, absolutely.
You see how it works?
And Austin was talking about
That's why I
books.
can't eat breakfast anymore, because it costs me $12.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
All right, that's it. I mean, I have more, but that's enough.
All right, I think that was sufficient. Given the number of Rotarians here, this could be a record for per capita finding.
Give me a jump on this.
Like the bad
Well, your president is about to depart for places to the south because we discovered just the other day that, well, let's set the stage. In South Florida, there's an Audubon Wildlife Sanctuary, not too far from Naples, Corkscrew Wildlife Sanctuary, that is famous for wood stork nesting this time of year and other great stuff. And occasionally they open up they have a 2.5-mile boardwalk through a cypress stand, cypress swamp area. And occasionally they open it up in the evening so that you can spend some time out there when it's dark, or especially during dusk, to watch the wildlife, which is happening this Friday. So in order to get there, Mrs. Trick and I must depart very soon on a camping expedition, because it's about 800 miles to get down there. It's a day-and-a-half trip. So I must leave very soon to go do that, and so I've already paid a fine for that. In the interest of honesty and fairness, I have to also confess that last Wednesday evening we had our local local Rotary President's meeting, which I had erroneously put on my calendar for 6 o'clock. And so when I showed up 5 minutes early for my meeting, I was actually there 55 minutes late. So I paid a fine for embarrassing your club at that meeting as well. So that's about it for business. I will be delivering this morning the check for $500 to First Presbyterian Church to go to John Ellis for the water project, which we all agreed to fund, and thank you very much for that, because that's going to be another feather in our cap. Mr. Vice President, President-elect.
That's the filter purchases?
Yes, that's what.
Okay.
That's water filter purchases. And in fact, I expect they will be labeled with thank you for our club. So we'll have some news on that from John. I'll be in touch with John about that. Anything else that I need to cover before I make my rapid escape?
Let us make certain that the responsibilities, I'm going to come to you for responsibilities for the dance and for my administration next year. Please pick up those responsibilities. We've always been a club to take on stuff, but I've been having a little bit, haven't had the enthusiasm for some of the things that I'd like. And so that's about it.
All right. In that event, then I'm going to pass the gavel, Donald, to
Make sure everybody, I want to get it on the tape, the March is coming up, and that will be Rise Against Hunger.
Yes. Oh yeah, I hope you all got.
Phil, is John Ellis going to be you go see him this morning or not?
I will not see him this morning.
Okay, I was hoping for maybe a picture opportunity if you were handing a check to him. So.
No, but I'll get an email to John and ask him if there's something that we can do. Maybe when
Come back to
Oh,
the club.
that's another
yeah,
question.
when the filters come in, maybe we can.
Another question. If I can twist the district governor's arms sufficiently, when would we like to have him present our Paul Harris banner? Because he will get it in another 3 days, and then he will be looking to his calendar as to when he could come down, and we should be looking when we would like to have him. Speaking of, photo ops is what made
At
me
the
think of
dance,
it.
in front of 300 people.
Oh,
That's the first date I would give him. He
okay.
may not be able to, but I agree, that's the first date to give him. You might want to consider club assembly dates in the calendar, or our final end of the year dinner. That way he has dates that he can choose from.
Yeah. Well,
If Trick's going to be the recipient, that means he's going to have to take it easy on the green beer that night.
That's right. Yeah, you won't have to worry about
That's all for
that.
the birds.
As long as it's not Scotch. Oh, gee. As long as it's not Scotch, I'll be all right.
Wild turkey.
Oh. I think he should pay a fine.
You got him on a roll now.
Yeah,
famous grouse.
Famous grouse now we're talking. All right, I'm off to Port South.
Say hi to the storks.
I hope they're nesting this year. We'll see.
Don't walk out with your badge.
Right.
Have a good trip.
I put it away.
Oh, thank you. All right, you all have a good time.
Have a safe trip.
Enjoy.
All right, any business?
I have one thing. Somebody obviously took photographs of Saturday's event. Was it you that put it up on Facebook and the district linked to it or something? Somebody's got pictures.
Yes and no. I put it up on Facebook, then I shared it to the link, and I sent a separate set to the district chair. And I'm never sure. There are 3 potential people that have access to that page, and I'm not sure if Margaret or Tiffany or I've forgotten the other lady's name put it up. But yes, our pictures were shared on that basis.
Can you, if you think of it, can you send some to me just by email? And I'll put them on the website as well.
Sure.
If you don't, then I'll just grab them from Facebook, because the quality won't be so
I will
good.
send it to you. Fool's Paradise, or no?
Yeah, that would do it.
Okay.
Is there any way you can get some of those in the paper?
I don't, is that?
What is the picture of? What is it?
The,
Of us serving.
Various ones of us during the winter warmth.
Yeah, copy me send me the picture also. I'll get it to the paper.
Who gets it to the Rotary newsletter?
that would, I guess that would normally be me, but
Yeah,
Bob seems to have
but
already
having
done
sent
it.
it to Margaret, it should get posted.
Yeah.
Okay.
It should get posted on the monthly district page. It should get dropped into the newsletter as well as part of the publicity team. Those 3 ladies are the publicity thing.
Okay, so Bob's done my job for me.
He's got it
So,
in there.
copy
Let it go.
pictures, Gavin, Ron. And I will be the one posting it on Showcase. You know, there is a place on Rotary Club Central where we post activities. I will be posting the dance, I will post Rise Against Hunger, I will post the completion of the grant for Rise Against Hunger, and I'll get this posted up on the Rotary Showcase. And those all contribute to points for presidential citation.
All the details of the dance are up on Facebook and the website now. Facebook changes, of course, but the website, if you're talking to somebody or whatever, you can just say go to hickorysunriserotary.org, and it's there, including Bob's phone number to call for credit card tickets, and I think my email if somebody wants to email tickets.
It's also up on the Barrett's Mill website.
Oh, great.
And is everybody getting the email with the video on it?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, do a good job with that. Where are the water filters going?
Haiti,
Puerto Rico? Okay.
yeah, Puerto Rico, that was it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I mentioned, but I went there on my cruise, over the holiday, that day that. It is tough. I read you read in the paper about the devastation and whether or not our country's providing enough help and so on and so
Lack
forth.
of power.
But I tell you, almost half that island is still without power. The cruise ships are now starting to go back. And when we got there, we were told that they'd been open for about 2 weeks. We stopped at a restaurant in Old San Juan, and the waiter was saying that that particular restaurant had only been open for 2 weeks. When we got off the boat, we hadn't planned to tour anything, but everybody's trying to get you to get on a bus and do all kinds of things, so we did. And the tour went to starts at Old San Juan where the ship was, across the bridge to the main New San Juan, to the city and everything, and then back around. Balmoral Castle and all those kinds of things. Even in New San Juan, while there's busy the cars and people are shopping, half the buildings are boarded up, as are those in Old San Juan. And this is where the power, everything's supposed to be coming back, and my heart is broke going through, and because we also took a tour of St. Kitts and St. Martin's, and the devastation on those islands, right? And islands that depend on tourist dollars. It was It's gonna take a while. And the only reason I'm bringing it up is if an opportunity ever comes to do something to support, I think we should consider it as a club with the water filters, or as individuals. They need help.
Do they have enough paper towels?
That's a good question. I don't know.
I'm just thinking of Donald Trump's contribution, throwing paper towels at me.
Well, I didn't even watch that.
But, I mean, it's, you know, supply, water. And anyway, just keep those people in your prayers.
We get information from international periodically of opportunities for one-time service. I'll look and see if there's something that would strike our hearts.
Did anybody else hear about the fact that Cape Town, South Africa, is going to run out of water altogether in April?
Yeah,
I had heard that.
I did hear that a couple days ago.
In case you didn't say that out loud, I hear it.
Yeah, it's all over the radio the last couple of days that Cape Town is basically going to run out of water in April. They've had like 2 or 3 years of below average rainfall and probably some pretty poor planning.
So they're into a severe drought.
Yeah, they're talking about posting police and troops and so on in case of unrest in the situation. So I don't know if that's going to appear on the Rotary radar at some point as to how.
Yeah.
They've already begun limiting the amount of water and what you can do with the water. And that's if you limit the watering of your plants and they're not growing, that's going to increase the drought.
Yeah.
Yeah, good point.
You know, it's a funny thing. We say, you know, one Rotarian working in concert with another one Rotarian can do amazing things. But when you think about it, we dumped nuclear waste, we dumped trash, we dumped tires. That turned out to be a fortunate one, into the ocean, because the ocean's so big you can't screw it up, but we have, and you can. You know, there is a sea out in the Sargasso Sea full of plastic that we've discarded, and just, you would, yeah. Talk about a place that shouldn't run out of water runs out of water. The Everglades has such a vast surface layer of water, and we started diverting and damming and redirecting, and all of a sudden Fort Myers had a house in Fort Myers. The 45-foot well dropped to 90 feet. We had to have it re-drilled. The 90-foot well dropped, and 180 feet we hit salt water. And we had to go down 250 feet to find fresh water and 270 feet to get potable water. You know, because of the swamp going down and dropping the water table under the land around Fort Myers. So it's amazing the damage we can do incrementally. And that's also how our good is done, incrementally.
No comment was made, but Dan Green is here.
Yay, Dan! All right!
I had to take a kid to school instead of making him walk this morning.
You'll never
Good
see
reason.
that.
Good reason.
Dan, the kids that you sponsor and everything over the years, do you get a sense for how much or how they feel about this country and about history and stuff like that?
That's a good question. And I think that the answer can vary from kid to kid. But, oh man. Let me kind of start with the Germans, since that's maybe the culture I know the best. There's a whole lot of things they like about us, and then there's some things they don't like about us, you know. And on balance, you know, I think it's very I would say it's pretty positive. Unfortunately, I'd have to get into a little bit of politics to completely answer your question, because that gets into the area where they don't like, they think we're too conservative. They think we're, I don't know.
Reactionary.
Yeah, like this whole thing with healthcare, they don't understand why we're so far to the right. They don't understand why we don't go ahead and have communal socialized medicine like everybody else. And that's where they, and then they see us as kind of backwards in our attitudes about a lot of things like that. And, where I think their positive part is to create, especially what you'll hear from the Germans, is our creativity and innovation, and you know, things like NASA, you know, that we do. That's pretty incredible. I remember having dinner in Germany with Jacob's parents one night, and his father is a businessman. Sometimes he's really a scientist. He's a chemist, and he had been he'd been working for a pharmaceutical company in Germany, and they had developed a relationship with a company in Texas, and I was talking about how, you know, we tend to be service oriented, and the Germans are more manufacturing. You know, they make things, and he was making the comment that it actually made a great partnership with this American company, because he says, we'll come up with these new products and things that we don't quite know what to do with. We can call the guys in Texas, and immediately they got 20 ideas on how to market this and what to do with it, you know. And so he says it's this great partnership where we make the stuff, and then they help with the marketing and servicing and that kind of stuff. And I think that, you know, the German-American relationship has really developed very nicely over the last, especially the last 10 or 20 years. Would you say, Gavin? I think you probably have some perspective on this.
I would think that, yeah, the Germans in general have always, well, of course, I'm a generation earlier when people could remember after the war and so on, but the German view of the United States and the American people was always extremely positive. And I mean, in a way, I've been through the same thing. I still remember the first time I came to the United States, and what impressed me, and mostly I was impressed because I just wanted an adventure, and everything seems, horizons seem bigger. I mean, they are physically bigger, but just everything seems bigger, larger than life, I think, to a lot of Europeans. And the other thing is the friendliness of the people. It's a kind of, you would, I think a lot of Europeans would think of Americans with like an affectionate head slap. You know? Like the kind of thing you say with, you know, why can't they get their mind around
healthcare
and things like that, or we seem to be so stuck in a rut sometimes. But people, I think, kind of generally have a warm feeling about Americans that they meet when they come here.
Yeah.
And I think they probably.
My Germans love to come here and visit, but they're also quite ready to go home too. but you know, like the two Germans were just here last month, and they enjoyed spending 3 weeks just eating like pigs, because you don't do that in Europe. You know, you just you don't eat there the way you eat here, and we've got all this great food and all this great fast food, and so they have their 2 or 3 week binge where they come over here and, man, they just have a really good time eating all
Dan,
all
you
this.
must have seen German ladies eating cake. Feeding time
like,
at the zoo.
To give you a little anecdote, I remember I was at welcome orientation in August one year. This was maybe 5 years ago, and back then they've changed this. Back then we brought them in a hotel, and we get them off the plane. They've just come in from Germany or wherever. Get them off the plane, take them to the hotel, and the first thing we do is, you know, give them something to eat. And we had gotten these sandwiches from one of these nice sandwich places where you can pick it up, or they delivered. I think they delivered it. And there was about half a dozen German guys that we had just got them off the plane, and they're sitting there in the lobby of the hotel, and we bring all those sandwiches and dump them in front of them, and they start diving into it, and they start opening up these roast beef sandwiches, and they just bust out laughing. And I said, "What are y'all laughing about?" And one of them says, he says, "All the meat in this thing." He says, "This is like 4 times more than you would get at a sandwich place in Germany." And the other one says, "Yeah, I love this country." I love this place. I love love this guy.
I think another thing that a lot of people think is, and this is where the United States has to be careful in its view of immigration and whatever. I think a lot of people, you know, they may talk about, oh, why can't they get their head around healthcare or whatever, but if somebody has an idea and wants to do something with it, I think a lot of people think of the United States first as, you know, where can I go and do this? You know, where are the options, where will people be most receptive to it and all that kind of stuff. And that's, I think, been a big boon to this country. And I think of all these people who come here to do things because things feel possible here. I think a lot of people go back with that too, as part of the bigger horizons.
I think it's interesting. Some of the former students that he's had here have invited him back to Germany and they get married. And he's invited to the wedding. That says a lot.
There was Martin that got married at the
Yes.
castle in Brussels.
Yes.
After his civil wedding the day before in the city hall in Luxembourg. So that was a great trip. I did that. And then I had my very first exchange student got married on the Chesapeake Bay. He's a Danish lawyer, and he got married to an American lawyer that was practicing in Washington. And so they had vacationed before on the Chesapeake in Maryland and decided that's where they wanted to get married. And he met her when he was over here one summer visiting me after he'd already done his exchange year. It's funny that I haven't had that many get married. It's kind of unusual thing. Of course, I think in Europe they wait longer than they do here anyway. That's
Or
part
they
of it.
don't officially do it in some places.
And some just don't get married at all. They just, you know, my Icelandic son just lives with a lady and has 2 kids that are probably my oldest grandchildren. His son turned 13 in December and is going to invite me to confirmation in May, which I don't know that I'm going to be able to make. It's, Iceland is a long ways to go for confirmation. And then, of course, this one's going to be different. It's not going to be a Christian confirmation. It's going to be a Nordic type of confirmation, with the old Nordic gods or something. I don't know. It's I would love to see that, but I don't know if I can. If I want to go all the way to Iceland just for a weekend, especially at that time, it's going to be pretty dang cold in Iceland the first weekend.
You're talking about that intercompany synergies like that. You reminded me of Akron when I grew up. There was a rule of thumb that held, I can name a number of products that would prove the point. The rule was Goodrich develops it, Firestone produces it, and Goodyear sells it. The radial tire went that way, switching from natural rubber inner tubes to butyl inner tubes. We developed that, and it took Goodyear to sell it. You know, the collapsible safety spare. And the spacesuits that NASA put on their astronauts the first time you saw a spacesuit, Goodrich developed it, Goodyear sold it.
Going back to Dan, one other thing,
There are
and
rules to
I just
play.
know that Dan has shared this with me at different times. And I'll ask you a question. You take these students to see the United States, you take them on a cruise, and he's done a tremendous amount of goodwill, either to the Grand Canyon, out west. They just returned 3 weeks ago from a cruise in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
And every year he does this, and he plans it out, and it's amazing what his efforts are to show what America is, and I commend you for it.
It's been a lot of fun.
How many years have you done that, Dan?
Since '91.
Wow.
The first year. And the
You
oldest-
stay in touch with almost all of them, don't you?
Yeah, I think all the ones that I've kept for a whole year, I'm still in touch with. There's, I think, and of the ones I kept for part of the year, or like a month or something, there's only one of them I've lost. Or 3 or 4 of them, there's only one of them the Hungarian kid moved, and I lost track of him.
Are most of your exchange students from Europe, Western countries?
Yeah, I've had one South African. In fact, one of the ones I'm closest to is from South Africa. And y'all came over here for a meeting not too long ago when he was visiting.
Is that great?
Great. And I've got one from Malaysia now that was fairly recent, a couple of years ago. He stayed with me one semester, Malaysian kid. Penang is where he's from. In fact, if you go into, I've started subscribing to this magazine called International Living, and they have their top 10 best places, countries for Americans to retire to.
Yeah.
You know, it's a retirement thing, you know, and Penang, Malaysia is in their top 10. And their number one for this year is Costa Rica, I believe it or not. But they're looking at cheap, cheap place to live, good climate, and good health care. And safety, you know, is also a factor. But those are probably the four things they look at, and they rate Costa Rica, Panama, and Mexico as their top three. Then some of the others are some countries like Ecuador, and the only European countries in the top 10 would be first Malta is ranked in there, and then Portugal and Spain. And then Malaysia, they're southeastern, the one Southeast Asian country in there is Malaysia. And another factor, a fifth factor, is the English, being able to get around with your English. In Malaysia, they speak English. Right? You know, they speak Malay. They sort of have, Malaysia sort of has two main languages, English, Malay, and English. And Malta is very international, and everybody has to speak English to get around. So that's why in that way, in the climate, you know, as you can imagine, Malta is in the middle of the Mediterranean. The climate is probably the equivalent to Orlando, Florida, maybe, or maybe a little bit more than maybe St. Augustine, Florida, would have about the same climate as Malta.
I think it's been really good for you to bring the exchange students here to Rotary. And
Yeah, we
it's
know
good for
that.
us.
We got to pick a day to do that before the end of the semester too.
And we've had a couple of those that it has been what we've done in the past. Any fines, we'll split it among the students. And we've had the student in Denmark, I can't remember his name, he was one.
Holger.
Put the money back in the bucket. And that was very nice.
Yeah.
Bob, do either you or Rick have a responsibility schedule with you?
Yeah, I've got it here with me.
I just wondered when Dan might have the program. That'd be a natural if
Yeah.
he's got it coming up sometime.
Excuse me. As I'm looking there, Kenny Klotz has it for next week. We've not seen Kenny for a while. Has anybody heard from him at all or anything?
He did the tickets and the posters, but we did that via email, so that's all I've.
He must have a responsibility with the son or something.
Could be.
You got some school.
Dan Green has February 21st.
Oh, I do. I didn't know that.
Read that schedule how often?
Holy cow, that's 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that should
Is that
work.
doable?
Yeah. We've got, by the way, we've got 5 kids this year, but one of them is down at Ford, and she may not want to come up here at 7 in the morning. Although she came, the Hickory Women's Club had a thing at lunchtime a few weeks ago, and she got her host dad, I think he works out of the house, and so he drove her up here for that thing. A month ago.
Austin, you have somebody who wants to do a program.
Rita Purvis, that's in charge of the Career Center here at LR, would like to come and speak. We had her, or I had brought her a couple times before to visit and then to do a program. Remember when we had the state trooper?
Yes.
That was my bad. I got my signals crossed, I think. But she would like to come back soon. She can't come for the next 2 Wednesdays, but she's free the rest of February and then March. So if there was something open or there's a club member that needs a program, I'd love to get her in here.
And in order,
7, 14, and 21.
14 is a club assembly. We probably need to be taught by the dance. Dan Green has a 21st. Donald has a 28th. Steve has March 7th. And we've got another club assembly a couple of days before the dance. Ron Leach has the 21st of March, Kel Lubach, 28th. And Scott Owens has the 4th, and he's a non-show for a while. So if any of those names that I've just mentioned want his program, just let Austin know.
March when, Rick?
March 7th for you, Steve.
Well, next week, if I'll check with Kenny. If he doesn't have anything, does anybody have something they can do next week?
we had on the snow day, Gerardo's program was scheduled to do that, and I understand he had prepared for it, but he never got an opportunity to do it, so that may be
Okay.
something. we could
Contact him, see if he
contact
can
him, see if he wants to do it on, what'd you say, 20?
Well, it'll be, next week.
next week.
Okay.
In place of.
Okay, I'll go see him and
Okay.
find out
All right.
after this
Are
meeting.
you gonna check with Kenny then?
I will check with Kenny, let me, get a minute. Piece of paper, let me.
Okay.
And I was, all right, that's bad. Now, what am I checking with Kenny about? I thought I was checking with
Whether he
Rob.
has a program, so you guys have.
See if Kenny's got a program. If he doesn't, then see if Gerardo will do it next week.
Thank you.
And for the month of February, Michael has the invocation responsibilities. So in case he's not here, if we have somebody who can fill in, thinking about that. That's usually not an issue. Most of y'all can pray. Most of y'all.
Most of them need
I've got 3 or 4 international invocations banked, so if we need them, I can.
Come prepared, that's good. It's almost time to go.
Saturday is pets, pre-pets.
Pre-pets.
Pre-pets, excuse me.
Bob, what is the difference? Because there was no pre-pets when I was coming.
No, the pre-pets came about because of statements like, darn, I didn't know I was supposed to have that ready. Well, pre-pets is to tell you what to get ready for and to facilitate. A number of things that are concentrated on are roles of officers, selecting officers and chairs, using your access to Rotary.org and to DAX-DB. We're one of the few districts that buys the DAX-DB service for the entire district. Some individual clubs have it, but it really is a convenience, and it's gaining ground. There are a couple, maybe 3 service providers like that, but DAC-DB seems to have become a partner with Rotary and seems like it's going to survive and be an asset. But yeah, it does a lot of things that, I mean, it has an accounting function. If the club needs a treasurer, the club, DAC-DB will do the club's treasury and send out invoices. It'll track attendance. It does track attendance for the reporting to district and a number of things like that. So, but that's shared with the presidents-elect so that they can put their club on the ground with feet moving. So it's basically to get over that, damn, I didn't know I was supposed to do that.
Then I assume they did not have a pre-pets. I've gone to a pre-pet already.
Yeah. Well, that died with Jack. Jack had been sending out a monthly exercise. And warning, it'll be realized on pre-pets and pets, they're going to have scavenger hunts where the people who have been through it have a chance to score points for their club based on the things they can successfully complete that they should have picked up during the months prior to their training. Just a light refresher quiz type thing, but like the scavenger hunt. And there will be a scavenger hunt delivered to everyone at pre-pets, and they will deliver their answers at pets. So yeah, so that's the pre-pets. It was a monthly exercise that Jack sent out for email for folks to do. He was a pretty thorough trainer.
Yeah, he was.
It will be sorely missed. The other thing is that your president-elect is not known for going into debt. I try to keep myself debt-free, but here lately I have, I think at your request, signed up for several events that are on our schedule for us to attend a couple conferences and some training. And so my question to the club is, how do I get reimbursed for those services, those things? Do I wait until I go to it, or do I?
I think when you paid, or as soon as you paid, you can
Give
talk to
Glenn the
people.
receipt.
I know pets is paid for by the club, is that correct?
Yes,
Yes.
pets.
What about free pets and other?
Free pets is paid for by the district. And we'll share a ride, so that transportation will be taken care of. I guess one of the questions, the only procedural change that Donald might be seeking is, we have always reimbursed on receipt after the fact, after the expense has been realized. But it's also possible we could advance again. That's the question, if we would want to advance funds.
I think the only question in Glenn's mind, every time he wants to write, he wants something.
Yeah, he needs
Paper or
a
something,
primary document to track it.
And,
Do you pay for these things with a credit card?
I did.
Well, then I think you should just present it as soon as you pay
Well,
with your credit card.
I would suggest that
and then
the
you
club
get it
will
before
accept
you
it.
pay.
When you make these transactions, you get a confirmation email. I think we could pay on the confirmation email.
Surely,
Absolutely.
yes.
It's just, I don't want to carry a balance forward.
No.
Just work it out with Glenn,
Yeah, okay.
and he'll do it either way you want to do it.
Okay.
yeah, I think if you just, I agree, you present that confirmation email, Glenn's got a piece of paper and he's happy.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's got a primary document.
Donald, it's our responsibility to get you prepared, and we take it as a responsibility.
Now, I hate to mention this,
We didn't always cover everything, but we feel what you're
But
going through is our responsibility.
those folks who have accepted chairs, treasurer, secretary, foundation chair, there are a couple others. I think publicity and membership chair might be asked on March, I don't have Isaac's calendar, I believe it's March 19th, if that's a Saturday.
No,
That's a Monday.
Monday. Well, that can't be right. Anyhow, there is a date in March, past the 15th, for officer training. And we're obliged to send a team of our officers for the new year.
What if that's the 17th, which is our dance?
Then we won't. I've already made that clear. I said, you can't calendar things on our due dates. Well, if that is the occurrence, and I'll have to look and see, if that is the occurrence, I'll get a district trainer in here to do us here.
Guess what?
That's a good idea.
It's March 15th through March 17th is Rotary Pets Training, Greensboro.
It is in Greens, that's right.
You gotta say what time it ends on the 17th?
1 o'clock.
You got plenty of time to get back.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. And I would say in that regard, as a servant in the district, I get most of that paid for too.
What is he training us on? Our roles?
Yes, the performance of because,
Most of us,
well, I understand, but, every 2 years, we have a council on legislation.
right?
And they change what can and will be done.
Okay.
And it's to advise those and the impact of those on different positions and functions.
Bob, I would think that some of the other clubs, Hickory clubs, would be interested in having, we could do a joint thing with them as far as bringing somebody in.
You have to watch out, because that falls to Jason and well, Phil's not here, but I shouldn't have the tape on when I say this. I offered to fill in Jack's training obligations at his funeral, and I was politely told they would appoint a past district governor to handle that. Thank you. Someone who knows what they're doing. 3 weeks ago, I got drafted to help the past district governor be the trainer for the district. So I'm going to do the work and give him the glory, which is fine.
They got somebody who knows what they're doing.
So who told you that? Who told you?
The district governor away.
The insurance company?
The guy from